going live. We are live. Okay, got it. There we are. Perfect. And then Melanie does her little double checking thing, and then I record us and we're good to go. So hello, Facebook world. Melanie's just doing her check here. Do it every time. Yes. Okay, perfect. Let me get recording. Rock and roll. Are you guys ready? As I fall off my chair. Yes. A little cozy in here, you know. Hey, I want to welcome you guys to Playing to Win. I'm very excited to have Rebekah and Paul Cummings on my show. I feel like I need to have like the copyright registration but anytime I say your name. So anyway, I am so excited. You guys are the first people that have ever been a couple at the same time.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. On my show though. It's the first time ever.
We're excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
I'm so excited to have you guys here and in my world. So thank you so much for being here. You know, we like to talk about playing to win, and I have guests on the show that I think have incredible stories and are really winning at life and in business. And so I trust that you are going to enjoy getting to know these two amazing people. They are a husband and wife team. They do a lot of real estate. They list a lot of property here in Austin, Texas. They have a family, all the things, but I want you to hear from them, your story a little bit.
Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting. We're going to go I want to hear each of your stories because you're two individual people that found each other and now have built this and continue to build this extraordinary business. So where do we want to start? Who wants to go?
Rebekah, you can go ahead.
I'll go first.
Tell us, who are you? Tell us a little background on yourself.
Oh, goodness. Well, where do we start? Lived in Texas for over 20 years now and was raised in San Antonio area where all my family still resides.
Texas girl.
Yeah. Went to Texas State, technically Southwest Texas for anybody of you Bobcats out there, and graduated with my marketing degree.
Okay. What did you want to do when you studied marketing? Did you know? I mean, does anybody ever know what they want to be?
No,
I didn't. But
20-year-olds should ever know what they want to do for the rest of their life.
Maybe you knew because you're that kind of person. So okay.
No.
Okay.
I actually went to try to study finance and accounting. Flipped back and forth a few times, and then found my love for marketing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Okay, and then what happened after then?
Moved to Austin, loved it so much that I wanted to plant my roots and found Leander with my husband, Paul Cummings, and we've been there ever since.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Then we're going to come back to real estate. Okay. That was very simply said. Okay. How about you, Paul?
My name's Paul. My story kind of starts in the Midwest where I was born.
Okay.
I went to culinary school right out of high school. Found out that I enjoyed it and I went into corporate training for restaurants.
Wow.
And so I was a bar and restaurant manager for over 20 years in that space.
Well, so right after high school, you went into culinary?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Right after high school, I kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do in high school. So
Okay.
I took some classes during high school to get prepared for that.
Nice.
And then once I got into the field of the culinary side, I decided that maybe I want to be in the front of the house a little bit more, to be interactive with people,
Yeah.
and more like that. And so I went that route, and then moved to Austin in 2020 or 2021. Right when everyone was leaving here, I was moving in.
2001.
I was like, wait, no, she's
So
like,
that
no,
was just a few years ago. Wasn't it?
2001, sorry,
you scared me there for a second. I'm like, that
2001,
math's not adding up. Yeah.
2001, when everyone was leaving.
Okay. Yeah.
The economy here was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was just quite a different scene. I moved here because I can play golf year round.
Okay. So you're a golfer.
I'm a golfer, yeah. When I have time.
Yeah. It's like something about restaurants and culinary and golfing doesn't seem to align.
Oh, they actually all align.
They do?
Everyone in the restaurant plays golf.
Oh, really? Okay.
While you guys
good
are
to know.
working during the day, we're out golfing.
Okay. All right. I learned something.
And then I finished my business degree here in Austin, and then in 2015 we got into real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about. I noticed I just kind of blew over that part. we're gonna dig deeper. Melanie's gonna hit the pause button because I want to talk about how you two met, because I literally adore these people, as you can see. I only have guests on my show that I really adore, as you know. So how'd you meet?
How do we meet Paul?
So,
And now we have this live on the podcast,
Yeah.
so for
So-
your future generations to
absolutely,
listen to.
absolutely. So, I was working one evening at one of the places that I managed.
Right. I believe it was at the bar.
Yeah, it was at a, it was
Yes,
at a,
uh-huh,
yeah,
okay,
South
Yes,
Tower, yeah.
yes.
And Rebecca had came in for a few months with some of her coworkers from a job that she was at, and we had chatted in passing, really. And I'm a huge Rockets fan, Astros, Texans fan, and she, being from San Antonio, is a big Spurs fan.
Go Spurs, go.
And I look up on
Have
TV,
that kind
yeah,
of tension at
yeah,
home, keeps it
yeah.
fun, you
Look
know?
at the TV, and the Rockets and Spurs are playing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
I don't even
yes.
know this story.
Yeah,
You
oh,
don't know
oh.
I don't know this story. I'm
Oh, it's a
intrigued.
good
You're doing
one.
this
And-
just for me.
Yeah, and,
Good
and I
one.
looked at it and I was like, "You're a Spurs fan, right?" She's like, "Yeah, go
course.
Spurs." They're
Go
winning."
Spurs, go.
And I was like, "Hey, I got a bet for you. If the Rockets win, we go to dinner and you pay.
Ah, that was smooth.
If the Spurs win, we go to dinner and I pay."
Except
It-
for
Gentlemen, take note on that. Do you see what that was like an assumptive close? Because either way, he's getting the dinner
yeah.
with Rebecca.
And
That was
so-
high five.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Oh, wait, it gets better.
So the really interesting part is I did not pick up on that. I did
Oh,
not
okay.
understand what he was doing. I only saw it as a competition that I was gonna win. And that the Spurs
were not
were,
paid for
yeah,
dinner.
no, that just fact of fact, the Spurs were gonna win, and that was it. That's the only thing I cared about.
Okay.
And so we shook hands, made the deal.
I
And then he
with
walked
a big-
away.
Yeah.
Because you
and-
won no matter what. Paul already won no matter what. You know,
And-
because he's getting the dinner with this lady. Yeah, I
Well,
love that.
And I was sitting next to my boss at the time that we had went in after work, and my boss starts laughing, and he's like, "What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "You know what he just did, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he took a bet that he's gonna lose because the Spurs are gonna win." And he's like, "No, he's gonna take you to dinner no matter what." And I was like, "Oh,
That's
Paul just
hilarious.
asked me out."
That is hilarious. That's
Yes,
smooth,
that
Paul. Man,
happens,
that
yeah.
makes so much sense. So much. You know,
First one.
yeah, I was gonna say who won.
Yeah.
First.
So you paid for the dinner. How
Yeah.
how was that first dinner?
So-
Yes.
Yeah, we went out to eat, and then after that, here's one of them, a really quick story. And so we were in conversation, and
Yeah.
we made another bet.
It's a trend, a pattern.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get date number 2 with
Yeah.
Rebecca. Let's set another bet.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so the bet
I
was,
like
I'm
the way
like,
he thinks.
I was like, "Hey, let's bet a shot," and she's like,
No.
no, yeah, go with the $20 or
It was $20
For a shot?
No.
She's like,
Because so listen, when you get me going sometimes, I have a little bit of a Northwestern accent that pops out.
Oh, okay.
And he asked me where I was from, and I said, "Well, I'll give you $20 if you guess where I originally born from." And he sat and thought about it for a little while, and then his first answer was South Dakota. And that's exactly where I was born.
Oh my
Nobody
gosh.
ever guesses South Dakota.
Wow. Wow. I love that.
And so, yeah, that was when I knew I was gonna marry him.
Really, that moment, you're like,
That
that is
moment.
my guy.
Yeah.
That is you just know in that moment, right? That is my person.
you're like, whoa.
That is so I love that. And I love that because guys think about that. There's so many chance meetings in life, right? And you just never know. And you guys met each other's life partner
Mhm.
in just this fun environment. Okay, let me ask you, what gave you the courage to make that? Did you even really know what you were doing when you said that about the dinner? Was it more innocent,
yeah.
playful, or was it totally strategic?
Totally knew it.
Man, I love them so much. Okay, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, you know what we skipped over before we get to real estate is you didn't talk about your big sales background in furniture.
Yes, so,
Yeah, because let's talk about how you guys got into, because you are a team now.
mhm.
You know, you guys were both doing different things. Obviously, you were running a restaurant, bar, establishment. That's what your, whole degree was in, and everything that you're doing business. And you were at the time, were you already in sales, or what?
I
were
was
you?
already in sales,
Okay.
very established background in furniture retail,
Mhm.
and loved every minute of it.
That for a long time, right?
Yes, long time. And then after meeting Paul, we very quickly started a family. And
when you know, you
realized-
know. I'll
yeah.
tell you what, that bet just did it. I mean, come on, when somebody is as smooth as that, it's meant to be.
Mhm.
And the fact that you did not pick up on that, and you're a
Oh,
very
no.
intelligent woman. So
Yeah.
I love that
I
story
only
so
wanted
much.
to
So
win the bet.
boom, straight to we're getting married, we're gonna start having kids and all the things. So
Yeah.
when did real estate come into that for you?
when we were about to have our second child.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes,
okay, so
I
baby number
re-
one
yes,
came,
Yes,
and you were still doing what you do, you were still
Yes.
doing the sales,
Yes.
okay?
and then I realized that we could not do both of our schedules
Yeah.
Crazy schedules, by the
and
way,
raise a family at the same time.
crazy schedules, yeah.
So we decided to take the leap and the chance, and Paul's idea, it was actually Paul's idea that we go into real estate, and I had no idea what real estate was or what we were getting ourselves
I love
into,
that.
but knew that it was gonna give us the flexibility to have a little bit more time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
balance. So
Wow, that's
we-
really cool.
we took that leap and didn't look back.
Did not look back, yeah.
Well-
When we first got started, it was not all sunshine and roses,
Oh.
right?
Oh,
Like
Surprise, it never is.
yeah, Rebecca got the opportunity to dive in feet first, right?
Yeah.
And she went full bore with it, and the reason that we are where we're at today is all the effort she put in at the beginning. But I had to stay in the restaurant and bar industry for 2 years plus.
Okay, yeah,
We got things going
right.
because it's tough.
Oh, for sure. And when you've got
Yes.
another child on the way and
Yeah.
Mhm.
you got bills to pay, you can't just like both drop
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to build up that pipeline. Yeah.
So we did that.
Okay.
That's the beginning of it all. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
do you think, I mean, but look at that, because the life of, if anybody's ever worked in like that restaurant world, it's pretty intense, like those hours. I mean, no, you're never home. And then in sales, like in furniture sales, like you're working all the time too.
Oh,
So
yes.
I imagine those schedules together would be nearly impossible to have any kind of family time, or it wasn't the life that you had seen for yourself in the future, I imagine.
It was very interesting. I would say probably for the first 5 years, we were seeing each other at
Guys coming
opposite
and going,
trades,
yeah.
like
Right,
basically.
right. High five in and out the
High-five
door.
in and out of the door. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And then once Paul left the bar restaurant industry, after we got a little bit more stable, and in the real estate business, was when we went from seeing each other for about 2 hours a day
yeah,
to 24 hours a day.
yeah. Which is a whole other transition. And I want to talk about that because I think, yeah, that's a special gift to be able to be husband and wife and work together all the time. I'm sure that was a transition for you. You're both laughing about it, but
It took about 1.5 years to really find our groove.
okay.
Yeah.
Because we knew that we wanted to do this together. This
Yeah,
was an
absolutely.
idea that we did, that we came up with and decided to jump in together, and we
I
didn't
get-
want to lose that.
Right. And that's so key because I get that question all the time because I love the husband and wife team idea, right? Because it's really a family business, right? And there's not a lot of things that you can really have a family business like that. How are you able to define that from the beginning so that you don't lose, your relationship as a husband and wife is really important, right? And so, and a lot of times people, if one person comes in and they're the boss, you've got two very entrepreneurial people. How did you do that? I know you said it took like 1.5 years to find that, but did you like at some time just say, okay, listen, this is my lane, this is your lane? Like, how did you make that work? Because you had to have a conversation at some point around strategically, how can we win at a bigger level together, right?
Oh, very much. We'll skip past the uncomfortable side of sharing a desk and an office.
Yeah.
And sitting a foot away from each other. We'll skip past that part.
So there were some bumps.
The
The point is, it's not
Yes.
overnight. Okay, that's I
Correct.
want people to hear
Yes.
that. It's
Yeah.
not like it's just perfect. It
No.
was rough. There were days you probably slept in different rooms.
Oh, there's still days that I choose to take my own car and
There you
apologize.
go.
to my own
Exactly.
truck.
And that's just life, right? That's just life. But I think that
Yeah.
people relate to that, right? But you've been very, and you are very successful. So I really want people to learn from how you guys do it so that they can take that back to either a best friend they're in business with or a spouse or a partner,
Mhm.
whatever that is, so that they can learn from how you guys did it. Because you do it at a really high level. I don't see a lot of husband and wives that worked at the level you guys work together. You're really in sync.
I think the most important part was finding each other's strengths
Mhm.
and really honing in on those strengths and deciding the roles and sticking to those roles.
Yeah, I think even today, we're still finding those roles in our business, right? I mean, like Rebecca is knockout in person.
Oh, yeah.
And
She's a closer.
and believe it or not,
She had me at hello.
Yeah, her,
I thought I was recruiting you. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what have I said? Oh yeah, you're coming here.
she's fantastic on the phone, but
Yeah.
I'm just better on the phone, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's the role, that's just one of the things that,
Which you don't love the phone.
Oh, I love the phone so much that Paul has to time me when I'm on the phone.
Okay.
To let me know
To get
that
off
it's
the phone.
off the phone time. That's how good
And
I
to get
am.
lost in the
Oh,
conversation.
yes, I was
Okay,
shopping with
okay.
furniture with a client yesterday over the
Oh,
phone.
okay.
And so,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
not real estate related at all.
Right. So yeah. Okay. So, but you bring a real focus, I think,
Yes.
to the relationship.
Yeah, and I on the phone, my transitions are a lot smoother than hers, and I can really get to the point on some
He
things.
means that in most
Yeah,
complicated
It means it in a very loving
Yeah,
way.
he
Don't
does.
worry.
Yeah.
And she even sits there, just like, wow, like you just turned that whole thing around like
Yeah.
really quick. And I was like, yeah, that's what we're here for, right?
Well,
I
yeah.
mean,
Where did you learn that? You think? Where do you think you learned those kind of skills?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have
definitely.
you always been kind of that way? Because you just
Straight
seem
to the
very
point.
matter
Yeah,
of
very straight to
fact.
the point. Yeah,
Very
Yeah.
straight to the point.
Mhm.
yeah. I think
Yes.
that
Your business mind, maybe.
yeah, that goes
or-
back to the service industry that I was in,
Okay.
dealing with people, and not even I dealt with a lot of unpleasant people sometimes because that was part of the management job, right?
Yeah.
And so able to turn those conversations around to have them go the way I want to,
Yeah.
and to get the results that everyone wants is important. So
It is.
where I learn that skill.
So,
Yes.
okay, so you're great in phones, you're great in person, but
Yes.
also from a mindset, how do you approach the business? You do a lot of the listings, right?
I do a lot of, well, we
Or
do,
do both
of course, we
do
do everything together.
Yeah, we do all
Every
the functions, yeah.
appointment, every,
Okay, you do it
everything, all
together.
our clients experience us both
Mhm.
as much as we possibly can make it
Okay.
happen. Because, obviously sometimes one of us is gonna have to be at one place and the other is gonna have to be with clients, but yeah, we try to go to every single appointment together, every single inspection, every single,
Yeah,
everything.
So people see you as
Yes.
one, like.
yeah,
we have
every,
two-
every
yeah.
email goes to both of us.
Okay,
Yes.
so you're in the loop all the time.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right,
our
so-
group text
We do group
messages.
text messages
Yeah.
all of our
Yeah,
clients.
Yeah.
okay, so you're both communicating on, so what, okay, sounds like just made in heaven, right? So let's go there, let's get the dirty out a little bit. What is, not too bad. Let's say, we're keeping it clean, this is this is a child-friendly
Yeah.
show we do here. What are some things, if you look back at when you started, right? And you guys were finding your way, that you would advise yourself differently when you were just beginning, like were you both kind of, was anybody struggling to be the lead or trying to be something you're not, like any advice you would give to the earlier versions of yourself that our listeners could listen to or learn from you?
Oh, I would say, yes, I would say don't underestimate the power of your brokerage.
Mm.
And the ability to collaborate with other agents. I think in the very beginning, certain brokerages that we worked for, and the communication between agents wasn't as present as it is, say, at our current office with Keller Williams. And it's really important. The energy in your office can really make or break your entire day and your plan and your just everything about it. So I think if I had to go back and give myself any information about that, that would be, yes,
Yeah.
interview and find the office that has that energy that matches what you want to go and tackle this business with.
Gosh, that's so true, right? And people don't realize how important that is. Like who you
Yes.
surround yourself with matter, who are you learning from, like I always ask myself, like, who are my role models? Like who do I
Yes.
want to learn from? And I know if it's real estate, it's Gary Keller.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
there's not I've not yet met somebody that I would follow like I would follow Gary Keller. And then how do we create that in our environment? But who you surround yourself with matters so much, especially on when you're a talented person. You're going to be successful no matter where you go.
Mhm.
The question is how fast and how far and how
Absolutely.
big, right? And it's talented people like us, we can be the big fish in the small pond.
Oh, for sure.
No problem. It's
Mhm.
going to happen wherever we are. The question is we need a bigger pond so that we're growing. So there's always somebody like
Yes.
2 steps ahead. They're like, oh, I didn't think of that, right?
Yes.
And I think that there's a real magic in that.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I love that. So if you're listening to this and you're in an environment where you're not feeling that, well, if you're in this office, you need to call me because you're just missing out. So this is not to our people. Our people, we have it. But if you're
Yes.
if you're somewhere and you're not feeling that, that is a good thing. Who are you learning from? Who's your mentor? What
Mhm.
energy are you putting yourself in the way of? Because that really is going to matter more and more as we move on in this industry. How about
Yeah.
you? What advice would you give to your earlier self in the business?
To my earlier self in the business. I guess there's a lot of people out there trying to get your resources
Mm,
and just stick with the things that you know that help you, that work for you. I mean, we tried a lot of things over the years, trying something new and it just didn't work out. And we've been able
Yeah.
over the years to streamline our process and what works for us and really hone in on that and make it really personable
Mhm.
and just really work for us instead of, it's wasting time. Time's the one thing that you never get back.
that's true.
And being purposeful with our time
Yeah.
Mhm.
is really important for us this year. That's
That's my 2024 word,
Oh, is it?
is purposeful.
I love
And
that.
because there's way too many distractions in our
Oh my gosh.
everyday life, and before you know it, half the year is gone. And so
Yeah.
this year we want to be, more purposeful,
Yeah.
whether it be with our clients, our business, our work hours, our
Yeah.
family, friends,
I love
um,
that.
everything.
That's so
So,
good.
yeah.
That's so good. And I love that you brought that up, Paul, because it's true, the shiny or this person's doing that and that guy's really successful. So I should be doing that, or
Yes.
I need to buy that thing, or I need to do this system, or all the things, right? And I think we spend so much time looking at the things around us instead of, like you said, honing in what are we good at?
Mhm.
Like you guys, you from the get-go, you got into action fast, right? But then you start thinking this. Now it doesn't mean you don't need tweaking along the way. We always need
sure.
tweaking,
Yes,
right? But
absolutely.
it's like, but which thing? And you never, and so many people, they have something that's going well for them, and then they'd like leave that to go do the new shiny thing. Like, no,
Yes.
no, don't walk away from the database. The database is everything. These other things are just in addition to,
Mhm.
or whatever. But is that what's best for you? And you'll go to like a convention, or you'll go hear these interviews or watch you or whatever, and like, well, that's going to work for me. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But you never want to take your eye off what is Rebekah good at? What is Paul good at? What is Melanie
Yes.
good at? What are you good at?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then really hone in and be the best version of that, whatever your genius is, whatever your gift zone is, and then be more selective what you hear 100 things. You don't need to do 100 things. Pick
Right.
one thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's it's kind of like I make it kind of sound simple, but we have a tool belt, right?
Yeah.
Like our tool belt. You can add tools to it, but you don't ever throw tools away out of it, right?
Yes.
So the tools that like your hammer that you use every day, why would you ever get rid of that?
Exactly.
You're gonna keep it in your tool belt forever.
Yeah. The
But
hammer's not going to chop down the tree.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a saw, or all the different things,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
You know my point, right? Like
Yes,
a hammer,
totally.
you need different tools. I should have said it differently, like the saw is not going to hammer the nail or
Yeah,
whatever,
correct,
right? But you're right,
Yeah.
right? And you need different things, and you learn that. So if you really learn something and really master something, you always have it. It's not
Yes.
like you forget about it. It's always
Yeah,
there.
you just need to streamline that process to
That's
make
right.
it as easy as possible for you to do that at
Yeah.
a high level, and then gives you more time to add another tool.
Well, it's kind of
Mhm.
like what you guys did by joining Keller Williams. Speaking
It
of,
really,
great,
it really was.
great,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
when we met, we had some conversations around
Yeah.
some of the ways you wanted to grow.
Yeah.
And Paul's very systems oriented, and you're
Yes.
more like me. And that
Go
way
with the
that
flow.
we're gonna we wing it very well. We're masters of winging, right? And we can get really far with our talent and our skill with people, right? And so what we learn is the more we're in this, is the
Mhm.
better we embrace the systems.
Mhm.
Yes.
Actually, the bigger our world gets,
Mhm.
even when we're very entrepreneurial, right? So I
Absolutely.
believe that you're a really good balance. So one of the things you wanted to really focus on is really diving deeper in the database.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what tell me about that? Let's talk about that. 'Cause I
So-
think there's some of you resisting that, and I'm gonna
That
get
was
to it.
me.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
me, y'all.
And so we took bold,
Yeah,
And-
bold
Yes.
is
Bold
a
was
7-week accountability Keller Williams class.
Yes,
and it was eye-opening for us on how
I went kicking and screaming.
And she's like, I'm not going. Okay, I'm going. But you were here to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're here to
That's the
grow.
reason
That's
why,
the reason,
that's
yeah.
the
That's
main
right.
reason we
Yeah.
chose.
And you
Yes.
showed up every week.
Yes.
And we again, back to the tool belt, it was just something that wasn't part of our day-to-day systems or even on our radar, to be honest. Some of the things that we learned there, and we were able to implement those, and we have been implementing them. And ever since we took the course, and we just slowly implemented them, and we added some things, and we're tackling it, and we're being more purposeful with our time
Absolutely.
every day.
Yeah.
We feel like it's a lot easier. It's really easy in this business to go run some errands during the day, do some work, go do that, do
Yeah.
some work. And then 9 o'clock at night, you're still working.
Working.
You
Still
are.
working.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if with kind of the things we learned through Bold to really, she's been doing great at journaling her time.
I brought my journal with me.
That's
today.
amazing. I love that. But it is a time
Yes.
thing when you're highly relational.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we've been on the phones more than we ever have in our career.
Yeah.
And not making sales calls, just reaching out to people and just being personal with our clients.
Yeah.
And just talking to them, find out how they're doing and building the relationship that we've already had.
Yes.
You know, you have real relationships with your
Yes.
people. That's the
Absolutely.
irony of it all. Like just like me with my agents, like I have real relationships with you guys. Like
Mhm.
I could call you for a personal thing. I know you'd be there for me and vice versa, right? It's like, that's how your clients are for you guys,
Same,
right?
absolutely.
And you have that kind of rapport with them. Why in the world would you not be checking in with them?
I'll tell you a very quick story. So, as Paul said, we dove in after Bold and we really like got everybody into a single database, and that allowed us to reconnect with so many of our clients that became friends,
Yeah.
and definitely some that became more family. That last night, as I was making my list of everybody I wanted to check in on after the winter storm that we had,
Yes, it's like freezing in Austin
yeah.
right now as we're recording this.
and I ran across somebody who didn't have their homestead exemption,
Oh my gosh.
and they bought almost 4 years ago. And that honestly, that's a topic that both
Yeah.
Paul and I are extremely passionate about. People with what the homestead exemption, what any exemption, what property taxes here in Texas,
Mhm.
how they work, everything like that. That I picked up the phone immediately. I was actually on the phone with Paul, and I was like, Paul, I have to go. I have to call this person.
Yeah,
And they answered, and I walked them through the entire process and how they need to get this and
that's
how to
awesome.
backdate it and everything else.
What a
And
game changer.
it
for
was a
them.
game changer.
Yeah.
I just something that I loved every minute of it. And
Exactly.
we got to chit chat about life in the last 4 years, and it was great.
You know, helping people with their homes is one of the most important things. I always say, okay, marrying people, delivering their babies, I get that, right? But helping people find where they're going to live.
Yeah.
I mean, they either raise their kids in that home, so they're selling it, there's an emotional connection, or they're excited because they're having kids, or whatever, right? That it's a huge thing that we do. For those of you that are listening, that you're not a Texas person, homestead is something that a homeowner can register their home, that their primary residence that they're in, and it minimizes the increase of taxes that can be put on that property. Because we saw huge tax increases like on our rental properties, and I said on another episode that, like, you know, two of my rental properties went up $800 a month in the payment last year just because of the taxes, because they're not homestead.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas mine's sheltered that I live in, so it's very minimal, right? But that's the homestead. But a homeowner has to put the name in and do the form to
Yes.
do it, right? And then
Yes.
they're locked in.
Yes. So next week we are actually sitting down and interviewing Williamson County professionals and leaders, Larry Gaddis and Alvin Langford. And we're excited to share with the public all of their knowledge on those topics as well.
I love that. That's
Yes.
wonderful. That's so cool. And I think that's what we get to do in the role that we're in, is really educate the community.
That's,
Yeah.
if I have to say one passion that I love about it all, is the ability to educate as we go. And it's such a evolving topic. And
All the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
every day
Never
something is
stopping.
new,
Yeah.
and we have to, just educate the public. And
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah, whether it's, working with, we have clients that we've, helped become first-time home buyers, to buying their first rental property,
So
to
exciting.
things like that. And it's just,
It's a big deal.
it is.
It is.
Yeah, it's a big
I mean,
deal. It's life-changing. It's life-changing.
life-changing.
stuff for
Yes.
a lot of people.
Real estate is life-changing for people.
Yeah.
I mean, think of they say something like the average American has less than $3,000 in their savings account.
Mhm.
And that people that are homeowners have, I forget what the percentage is, but it's like, so they are on the wealthy side because of the equity piece, right? You can
Yes.
only lose money in a home if you have to sell at a market where you're in a down slump or whatever. But if you hold on to it, you'll never lose money in real estate.
Mhm.
And it's so fascinating. I mean, I've had other guests on here say that that's their kids' college, right?
Oh, absolutely.
My last
That's our
episode
plan.
from
That's our plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our plan.
Right. So
Yeah.
helping people invest and grow their money through real estate. I think
Mhm.
it's such a gift that we get to do. So, okay. So you see the sign behind your head, Playing to Win. If you're just listening on the podcast later on, Playing to Win is my live interview that then I edit for the podcast. I like to ask this question, so I'll ask each one of you. Okay, this is a question I ask every guest. You want to go first?
Depends on the question.
Okay, so you can, whoever wants to answer first. It's a super easy question. What does playing to win look like for you?
Oh, okay. So I would, gosh, I think it really goes back to being purposeful and having a plan of action of what you want to do and what you want to contribute to the community. Real estate professionals, we go so much beyond the word realtor that I mean, it's so important that you stay involved with your community, and I think that's something that we've always been big believers in, and
Love that.
we're excited to make another year of it.
I love it.
Yeah, so playing to win for me, I think is very close to what Rebecca said. For me, it's, I think, especially this year, I think that for us as a team and me personally, I want to get more involved with the community. I am currently involved and active in youth athletics and things
You're a
like that.
coach.
I am
Yes.
a coach.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Playing to win, Mr. Coach,
Yeah.
man.
And so that's important to me. And there's other things in the community that I'm going to get involved in this year that I haven't told people about, but it's going to happen.
It's coming. You heard it right here
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Coming soon.
But it's just, that's the best way that we can get back. Like,
Absolutely.
we help people move
Mhm.
into communities. Why wouldn't we be super involved in the communities we help people move into? I mean, it's hand in hand. Like,
Yeah,
we're helping build a community by
Right.
helping people move here.
yeah,
Why would we not be involved in that after the fact?
right.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I love that so much. And so now did you right away get into listings? Because you guys sell a lot of listings. So was that an odd, like, did that?
His
Tim?
idea.
His
His
idea.
idea.
Let's talk about that because we talk about at Keller Williams, you list to last.
That's
And
exactly
a
what he
lot
said.
of people will get, it's easier, quote unquote. I know nothing's easy, right? But it
Nothing's
looks
easy,
easier
but-
on the buy, to find a buyer and stuff like that. And it takes more confidence, it takes more skill set, in my opinion, to go after a listing. At least that's the mindset of all the thousands of people I've worked with.
Mhm.
And yet you guys got that concept. Did you immediately go after listings, or did you work your way into it after you got
And tell
kind
him.
of capped
Yeah.
out
Tell
on
him the
buy
story.
sides?
So
Because you do a lot of listings.
yeah, so we had when we first started out, we farmed the neighborhood we lived in.
Okay. And you went to
And-
farming right away.
Right away.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just didn't know. Like, we didn't know.
It just felt right.
We just-
Yeah, just had no idea what we were
We
doing.
just, we found some things that sounded good and like, that sounds good. And then as we kind of started doing what we're doing, people were like, oh, so you follow this one coach. And we're like, no, we don't. This is the things that seem right to do.
Wow.
And that's
Yes.
what we did. And so I was talking to Rebecca one day, we're driving around the car,
This was right when we first started.
right when we first
Okay.
started. And I was like, hey, our goal for this year is to get 5 listings in our farm.
This was in August of this year.
Oh, so there was one quarter
So
left.
there was only
Yeah,
5 months
yeah.
left when he looks at me and says, we need to get 5 listings
In
Yeah.
our farm.
for this
Okay.
year. And I'm like, there is no possible way I'm going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
And so
How big is
Um,
that farm? How big was the
It
farm?
was 1,500 homes.
Okay, so 1,500 homes, so
Yes.
5 listings out of that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And not a clue on how to do it.
Okay.
So we kind of, with the start of what really worked for us as far as that particular farm goes, we just hit the streets
Yeah.
Mm.
and made it happen.
Yes, got
And
involved and
got out of our
Yeah.
comfort zone. But
Yeah,
that's the biggest
okay.
thing, like,
Yeah.
just get out there and do it. Like,
yes.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And not worrying about perfection. That slows people down.
Mm.
I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at Paul.
Yeah, yeah. That's-
But it does.
Yeah.
Perfection gets in people's way,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? And we get ready to get ready to get ready. And I say all the time, I like things that are right too. I don't like typos. I like pretty things, all the things. Like I'm like you that way. And yet I know the power of getting the word out there and
Beat that drum.
Exactly.
Beat that drum. That's kind of.
Yeah, again and again and again.
Just
Yes.
beat the drum, just continue to beat the drum.
Yeah,
I don't even like to change things.
yeah,
Just every time they see something from us, it looks the same because they know who it is.
yeah,
The picture the picture of house might change, but the same thing on repeat,
yeah,
and just beating the drum. And once you are in that market, they just know who you are. And there's nothing more affirming to a potential seller than seeing, your sign in someone else's yard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, we got 5 listings by
So
the end of
that
the
was
year.
my next question. Like, how did we do? Did we get the 5?
Yes, we got the 5.
So-
And I
so-
looked at him with this look of, you were right moment.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
yes, because he was right.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that was kind of, you just fell into it because it made business sense to you to go after listings. Is that, well, how did Paul, like, how did you know to do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
How did you know to do that?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Just lucky guess or just,
Sorry,
it made sense to you?
just makes sense, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's just, I have my father was in the real estate background and.
Oh, was he?
A little bit, and, he
Was he an investor or what did he do?
he was a broker back in, way back
Oh,
in, the-
okay.
way back in,
Where?
Iowa.
In Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
And-
state in the United
Yeah.
States. Totally kidding.
Yeah, and,
Those listeners that are listening from
yeah,
somewhere else.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
get listeners in South Africa and Turkey and stuff, so. that's
Okay,
why
yeah,
okay.
I honestly do, so I'm not being facetious, so.
and, it was just kind of one of those things that I wanted to get into investment properties right after high school too. I mean, it's
Wow,
it's
so
always,
it's
it's
always
always
been
been
in
the
your
back of
blood.
my
All
head.
right, cool.
And so, it's just, yeah, you list your last. I mean, that's just.
You do last, that's
It's
right.
the easiest form of marketing that you don't pay for.
That's right, you put a sign in the yard
Yeah.
Right?
And,
Yeah.
and it just gets syndicated to websites for you.
and you get it,
Mhm.
there's your
You-
branding
you
right
get your
there. It's
brand,
like your
absolutely.
billboard. What would you say your percentage of listings to buy sides are?
ooh, probably 80% listing.
Yeah, you're heavy listing,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yes.
heavy listing.
Mhm.
So a 1,500 home farm, what's your percentage of like market share there?
So at the.
At
I
that
know I didn't
particular
prepare you
farm,
for that,
that's
but.
okay.
We know.
Because-
Yeah.
Oh, Paul
okay.
knows.
Yeah,
I
so-
figured he'd know. I would never throw you a curveball.
Yeah, at the peak, at the highest point we've ever had, I think we were at 22%.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a number that is,
22% is the
Yeah,
highest
it's
you got
pretty
there. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, it was a crazy year that year.
So,
Yeah.
so do you do like, because a lot of, how much, okay, so you'll know this too, of your, if you're 80% listing focus, is of that 80%, how much of that's coming from farm activity versus like sphere? Like, is farming a big percentage of how you, because I know they also become your sphere, so there's a little bit of crossover.
Yeah.
But would you say that has a major impact on your overall business with the farming activity? Or
I
is
think-
it like a 10%, or is
No,
it bigger than that?
The farming, I would definitely weigh it at probably 75%.
Wow,
Is
okay.
our farm.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Pete, and you don't see it necessarily. Now that was August when you made that goal and you did hit your goal of 5,
Mhm.
which is amazing. I see a lot of people will commit to a farm.
Yeah.
And then, oh, I don't see anything in 6 months. And so they give up
Oh,
on it.
gosh.
I mean, how long should that take? What should people expect if they're gonna commit to a
So-
farm?
I'd say 2 to 3 years, to
Yeah.
be honest. I mean, to get a real following and a real understanding from the community
Yeah.
that you're not just there to just sell their house and forget about them.
Mhm.
You know, it's about serving that community and
Yeah.
helping that community no matter what, whether or not they use you as a realtor or not.
Yeah, I mean, so
Love that.
here's a really interesting story. We had the opportunity in our farm to sell the same house, two
I
different,
forgot to turn.
yeah, two different times.
Speed times.
Yeah, same home, 2 different times.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
In our own farm, so that's
Yeah.
great. And I mean, and just the amount of, the effort it took. I mean,
Mhm.
so at the very beginning, we couldn't get information out there. And I would say that I would, walked.
A lot of door knocking.
We actually don't
No,
door
no,
knock.
okay.
Yeah, we don't door
So
knock.
when you say walking,
We do postcard delivery by door.
okay, so
Yes.
door,
Yes.
yeah, VIP
Yes.
service
To
to your doorstep delivery. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I love
and-
that.
At least,
So you walk the neighborhood. You just don't knock. You don't.
yeah, no.
Okay.
And it allows us to connect with neighbors that may be
Yeah.
outside
I love
and
that.
just
Okay.
put a face to
It's a
the
great
mailing that
Yeah.
they get.
And you get your steps in.
Yes.
Especially
Absolutely.
depending what time of year here in Austin,
Yeah,
Texas.
I would,
But yeah.
I would say with 20, maybe?
Yeah.
20,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Get it
So
all
what
started back in
else?
the day.
What else are you being purposeful besides walking it, doing that? You probably do open houses in there, I would imagine.
Oh, I love open houses.
Mhm.
Oh, open houses, yeah, especially focusing them
Yeah.
in your neighborhood,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
because again, it's about getting in front of your
Yeah.
community and
Mhm.
You've got
introducing,
local
yes, that
Expert,
go-to person that
right?
no matter the question, I will we will absolutely try to help any way we possibly can.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, back in when we were at the peak of our farm and would have, you know, at that, when you have 20% market share, you have 4 or 5 listings in the neighborhood
Yeah.
once. We would each be at an open house that day.
And multiple
In
time
multiple-
breaks.
Wow.
Breaks, yeah, we
Yeah,
do
that's
double
great.
open houses every weekend, and if we didn't have enough people, we'd get someone else from the office and we just make a map for the whole neighborhood.
Oh, I
and-
love that.
Yeah.
See, and you can do that when you really focus
Yes.
those efforts and you have the
Yeah.
multiple, and that's a really powerful thing for a consumer to see, or somebody that lives there be like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere, right? You see your
Yes.
signs everywhere. Anything else that you do to
Oh,
be more
yes.
involved? What do you do to be involved in your community?
We love events.
Events. Let's talk about your events.
We love events. We love, it's just another form of a give back. We never ask for anything in return. I guess our most recent one,
Mhm.
and the one that we are very well known for as the pumpkin fairies.
I love that.
So for the last 8 years,
Yeah,
we have done a You've Been Pumpkin event.
Oh, I love that.
And kind of like a You've Been Booed event, but
Uh-huh.
it went from delivering
start out 40, 50 maybe.
to
40, 50 pumpkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
to 1,000 pumpkins, and poor Paul would be in the back
Were you
of a,
walking those too?
no, he'd be in the back of a huge U-Haul trailer, and I would be driving with the back door of this trailer open, and Paul hops out and
Wow.
delivers 2 pumpkins
It's like
per
jack-o'-lantern.
address.
Like real ones, not
Like,
the cute little
no,
ones,
like
like
these
real
massive.
pumpkins. Oh my
Yeah, so one,
Um,
I'll
You
tell
got
you-
your workout in.
yeah, so I'll tell you a quick
I
story.
just
So,
try not to kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
so we get them from HEB every year. and,
Wow.
HEB ran out, there was a frost in Oklahoma
Oh
early,
geez.
and the pumpkins went bad. And
Pumpkin shortage.
There was.
there was,
We had the only pumpkins.
and so HEB, we went to go pick them up, HEB's like, hey, they were out of the size that you wanted, but I did you a favor. I had upgraded you for free.
To the big jack-o'-lantern.
To the,
The big daddies.
the 40 pound a piece
40
pumpkin.
pounders.
And so I'm waddling around
Oh my gosh.
these pumpkins. Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was a little rough on
that
the
was a
back.
rough-
Yeah.
Yeah.
not even that. It was just I
Yeah.
didn't need a workout after that.
No.
Man, you're yeah, that's
So we had to start getting some help.
Yeah.
So what so how many, so that 1,000 pumpkins you guys would give out every, or that
2
you
per
do?
house, so yeah.
Oh wow,
yeah.
so 5,
500.
okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing.
So
That's
we
amazing.
recently decided, this was just a very, this last year was our first time
Yep.
that we hosted it got so big that,
Because it will outgrow, like activities like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
at some
yeah,
point you'll
yeah.
outgrow it, and you need to just, direct it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we hosted a pumpkin patch in our neighborhood.
And it was super fun.
And it was
Yeah.
And
amazing.
we had clients showed up from all over the place,
Wow.
and it was fantastic, and it was a much better event for them, and I know for us.
And yes.
Yeah.
Think about the
Yes.
experience
Yeah,
of it.
it's
For the client, they get to
experience,
come, they get to pick their pumpkin.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
they're doing
we had a
pictures, they're doing-
photographer,
Get a
yes.
photographer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had things set up. We had like hay bales set up for pictures and things like that.
Fun.
And
And I got my hugs.
Yeah.
I got my hugs from
Yeah.
everybody.
That is
I'm
the
a
best.
hugger.
And
Everybody
Yes.
who knows me knows I'm
everyone
a
got
hugger.
to, we had to chat with people, which was awesome. Which was
Awesome.
before we just drop off the door and leave a flyer and say. thanks
Yeah,
for
you
coming.
didn't get that one-on-one
Yeah,
connection.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Oh, I love that.
It was good.
Yeah,
I
it
like,
was-
and you have all that ramp up to like communicate around
Yes.
that about the thing, and then
Yes.
after it's like, hey, here's your photos, or here or whatever, you
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's so much you can do around events. I think events are such a key thing for really having a great database. In fact, when they redid in Keller Williams, we used to say a 33 touch was the follow-up plan. They added it 36 to connect, and they haven't revised that in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. But that's what Jay Papazan talks about, is that they've added client events,
Mhm.
because client events are so impactful, and it's your way to give back to your people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
That's so,
a
I love
lot
that
of
you
fun.
took that. I mean, that must have been so much more rewarding for you guys too, than just delivering to the door, right? Because
Yeah.
really anybody could do that, but you do it still because you could get in the way of an opportunity to have a conversation with a neighbor.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody else, some teenager to do that, because
Yeah.
you're missing that
Yes.
opportunity. But this just took it to a whole new level.
It
You
was
leveled that up big
fun.
time.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm already planning.
Oh, and
year.
next year's already,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
Oh, this
already-
year, it's already 2020.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, I'm already planning what
Okay.
I'm gonna have, what I'm gonna do different, and
I
Yeah,
love
'cause-
that. Is that your big event of the year? Is that the
Yes,
big one?
that's-
Okay.
yeah, we do other stuff throughout other quarters. And
Anything else that you do that you want to share that you do?
as far as events go,
Yeah. What
Oh,
other events do you like to do?
we do watermelons in July.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Watermelons are always fun.
Yeah, I
It's
love
the
watermelon.
one in a melon.
Oh, that's cute. Now, is that a delivery thing or do they come?
We're gonna do an event again this
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
so that'll be coming in July, and it's always the best time when it gets really hot
Yes,
here.
you could do like a slip and slide.
Oh,
Slip and slide and get your watermelon. No, don't, because someone could get hurt.
Yeah,
And then, yeah. Probably not. No, forget I just said that. But how much fun, but it's fun.
it is
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, that's the
It's
thing.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
the part of, again, taking that, you're just a realtor and you just want to sell my house, or you want to sell me a house,
Yeah.
into
Right.
a very
Member of the community.
personal moment with everybody, and
Yeah.
it's fun.
That,
It's
that's
fun.
It's a
amazing.
community event. That's kind of,
That's
going
so
back to the
cool.
community side of it is just like, yeah, you just want to be part of the community. And
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
So what are you most proud of from what you guys have accomplished together so far, or individually? What are you most proud of?
we joke with each other a lot that we live a heck of a life.
Yes.
Yeah, we live a heck of a life, and some of the things that are day to day, I don't think that some people could even imagine the conversations we have, and sometimes how our day can just
Gone.
gone. Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, this, and this, and now we're here. It's 8 o'clock, and we're dragging kids to softball practice and coming home, and we've got this
Yes.
and that and the other, and it's just, you just sometimes it's a very interesting because a lot of people say that if you have a job, you're watching the clock till 5, and if you have a career, you're like, there's not enough hours in the day.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think that's kind of where we're at in our career right now. Is it's just not enough hours in the day, and I think that's what Rebekah's really being purposeful with her time this year.
Yeah,
and we're gonna kill it. We're gonna have a great year.
That's
We're really
amazing.
excited about it.
Yeah, I would probably add that I think one of the biggest things that I love is to be able to be an educator. And
yeah.
one of my long-term, some people are convincing me it should be a short-term goal of mine, is I want to teach. I want to teach. And one of the things I'm so proud of is our team actually expands from all of,
Yes.
from Belton,
Talk
Texas.
about your team.
From Belton, Texas, to all of Austin, all the way down to San Antonio. We have an agent down in San Antonio that his name is David Alcantar. He's
Hi, David.
amazing. Can't be here,
He's
but
watching though.
he's watching, and he's absolutely amazing. And I'm honored to have the opportunity to teach him and the ways and that have worked with us. And yeah, he takes anything from New Braunfels all the way through all of San Antonio.
And he was right there, and he was a client, right?
Yes, we sold.
Yeah.
it.
I love that. I hear that a lot, like clients that then get inspired. I always laugh because there's two ways, because I've met with thousands of people in my career, thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Mhm.
And when they're newer in the business, I would say, "Oh, what's making you get in the business?" And so many times it's either I had a terrible agent and I want to level up
Yes.
the industry, or my agent was so good it looks so easy. Right. And so I think there's a little to both of that, right?
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
there's an always but so talk about, like, how is it leading other people, because you two are really in sync with each other. Is it challenging to let somebody else into that dynamic, or was that pretty natural for you guys? Or did you have to tweak anything?
I think it's a natural, like you either have the ability to teach and guide and let go of the reins a little bit,
Mhm.
or you don't.
Yeah.
And you very quickly realize what you're good at and what you need to work on.
Yeah.
And I think what gives me the passion is to be able to teach. Again, I want to be one of the teachers in future years to teach real estate agents how to do this business and how to do it the right way. And there's not just one way, there's multiple ways. But that's the most important thing.
You will be excellent at that too. You'll be excellent at that. So how do you, on a personal note, how do you keep the marriage, husband and wife, with all this? Because I think that's really important. And I think most divorces come from people losing each other. And so you guys get the time and you get the vision and all that. And I see people do this at a really high level, but do you guys carve out, do you have date night? Like, how do you make sure that you have time for each other while you're raising these little kids, you're coaching this, and do you? And I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot,
it's okay.
because you have a spark between you guys. Like, it's palpable. You really, and I mean that from the most like respectful way. I love that. I love seeing the spark. You really care for each other, and how you handle each other is beautiful. Do you have to set time aside for that?
So
Or is it just natural?
lunch is a very important thing to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And breakfast.
breakfast,
Okay.
lunch, yeah.
So you guys remember Paul went to culinary school,
Oh, this is true.
and he
Yes.
told me that on one of our first dates. And I have not had to worry about cooking since then.
You're like, yes, I'll marry you.
Yes.
Yes, check.
So,
Okay.
yes,
And so, yeah, that's important, like,
Okay.
you just, again, being purposeful with your time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
it like, it's important, like, hey, we're gonna have lunch.
So you guys you're purposeful about that you actually eat together and.
Yes.
and-
Yeah, we try to do those kind of things, and it sounds so terrible, but so some days we have to split up. There's just, you know.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I
you're
mean-
not together all the time.
Yeah,
You have,
yeah.
you have to run something. You
Yeah.
pick up a kid, she's
Yeah.
doing a listing, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a GC
yes.
business that I do a lot of things with that.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes, and sometimes I'm gone for the whole day, and then she's doing real estate things, and I'm
Right.
working a GC project. And I call her up, I'm like, hey, did you eat lunch today? She's like, no.
Mm-mm.
That's funny. Huh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
Because
was
that's
like,
your time.
yeah, and I was like, well, I know I can't be there, but you gotta eat something. I know. I'm just doing this, and
Isn't that funny? I
and
love
so it's
that.
important, like, you know.
Oh,
I look at it
I love
as.
that. That's beautiful.
I look at it as, as we're fortunate.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
very fortunate to spend this much time together because, don't you worry, we get lots of comments of, oh, I could never work with my spouse every day, in that fashion. And I'm just like, well, one day we're gonna retire. And
Exactly.
he's the only one left.
Exactly.
And, so it's that,
Yeah,
that understanding and that patience grows to a very new level.
Yeah.
I
But
love that so much.
I couldn't imagine doing it in anybody else. Like, how
Yeah.
could you go home and talk about what you do with someone that doesn't know what's going on and expect them to understand?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right. And
Yes.
that is so true, right? Because if you don't have that, then you outgrow each other
Yeah,
in
Yes.
different ways,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like big time, like you
Yeah.
can't even speak the same language. So I think there's a real beauty in being in that same
yeah, and
field together
yeah,
and being able to
yeah, so-
share that. Yeah,
yeah. Sometimes you just need a ear to listen to,
yeah,
and sometimes you need like, hey, I'm really struggling how to figure this problem
Yeah.
out, and sometimes you just need someone. You're like, hey, let's go do this today.
Yeah. yeah. But I love that lunch is your time because
Yes.
the kids aren't there. This is like your uninterrupted time. So,
Yes.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
cool.
and we
So
try-
thank you for sharing lunch with me like a week ago. So I got to have some of that time and you guys sat all close together.
Yeah.
So I got to look at both of you. I mean, that's a really special thing. Okay, let me ask you this. Allergies.
No, yeah.
I know, Austin.
Yes.
It's like every show I'm like, allergies, see, still 2 years later. What are you most excited about?
In life in general or 2024?
Anything at all. You take it wherever you want to go.
I think it's just I feel incredibly blessed just to wake up every day. And every day that I get another opportunity to do what I love is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And I'm gonna working on not taking advantage of that.
You feel like you're in alignment with
Yes.
with who you are and where you're at
Yeah.
and everything.
Yes.
That's really exciting. How fun to wake up and be excited
Yes.
to play in that arena with your most treasured person right
Yeah.
here, right? That's
Mhm.
pretty special. How about you?
I mean, I just excited to, this, we have the opportunity to change our family's tree with the business that
Oh,
we're in.
absolutely.
And I just want to take advantage of that opportunity and, our God-given skills and blessings and leverage those to the maximum and get the most out of it. And I just don't want to, I want to live a full life on both fronts, like
Yeah.
the career life and the personal life. And I just don't want to look back in 20 years and go, man, I wish I would have done this more or that more.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
we could just, stay focused and just keep doing what we're doing and enjoying it,
Yeah.
then I think everything will take care of itself.
Mhm.
Not everybody, and I like, again, I'll repeat, I love my husband and wife teams. They're amazing because I think it takes a special kind of relationship to be able to thrive in that space. And when it is, it's magic. Like when you have a partner that you work with, I mean, how exciting is that they get you, right? But you haven't missed anything at all. If anything, you've leaned into the community that you live in.
Oh, yeah.
That if you guys were you're still running restaurants and you're still in your, furniture sales,
Mhm.
whatever you're doing, right? Think how different your community experience would be.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And could you be coaching the kids on all the things that you coach? And
Yeah.
could you
Yeah.
be involved in, right? It's
Mhm.
it's like when we talk about life by default and life by design, like we talk about in bold, that sounds so, that just sounds, no, it's a real thing, like life by design. What is the life that I want to live?
Absolutely.
And when I ask you both, like, what are you excited about? I mean, they're excited about their lives that they're living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no
Every day.
like lack. There's we are living full lives, and you have busy lives. I mean, your kids are still little. I get it. I mean, I just did a lot of that alone. I was married, but I was like doing it alone, right?
Yeah.
So I have great respect for what you guys are, the work that you do together. It's really inspiring to me to see you guys in action. And I just think it's going to inspire people to, the market has changed. You've been in the business long enough. You've seen things go up and down, and let me ask you this question before we wrap up, because we're out of time. Like, you're listing focused. I mean, 80% of your business. So congratulations, because that's huge, right? Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, listings stopped selling in Austin. And it was right about when I was selling my two. Exactly when that was, because that's exactly when I was offloading two of mine to finish my divorce. So I know exactly, because I was out there with you guys going, no showings. Like, people just stopped coming because interest rates, right?
Yes.
And yet you're carrying 80% of your business was listings. Yeah. So did you have to shift anything? Did you have to look at that tactically differently? And now, we just seem to see more movement, but what did you do when that happened? Did you do anything? Did you have to change anything?
Honestly, no.
Did you just keep leaning in, or did you have to have different conversations?
We had different conversations with sellers. It wasn't the crazy that we saw.
Well, you went from like
40 offers on a listing.
Exactly. And waiving appraisals and, 50,000 over or whatever. Yeah.
Luckily, a lot of our sellers had a large amount of equity that they were able to work with, and they just had to be, you're still winning. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not writing a check to sell your house, you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And when we first got in the industry, we had a couple clients who had to do that in different markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a great
Yeah.
It's not a great feeling.
Not a great feeling. And,
it's not, yeah.
And so, we did have different conversations with people. And
I think it's all about presenting expectations.
yeah, absolutely.
And knowing the market and studying it the way that we do helps us explain what those expectations look like. We just, there's still listings that we see that we don't list that are on the market for 200 plus days.
Wow.
And it's heartbreaking sometimes to see a seller go through that, because if they were, presented the right expectations up front, they could have definitely had a different outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes confidence, though.
Yes.
That takes confidence in a skill set. And that's why I say the skill set market is back.
Yes.
Like, you have to understand, you can't be afraid to tell the truth. Like this is our job, to tell people the truth. You hired me, you asked me to come to your home today to tell you what I think my professional opinion is of what your home is worth right now in the market today. If you're to sell today, here's where I believe that you'll be out from my professional opinion, from 22% market share in your neighborhood. I mean, that brings a lot of validity, right?
Yeah.
And yet so many agents, again and again, you'll see them take overpriced listings and not have that conversation. And they're doing such a disservice. I'm not dissing anybody. Okay. I'm just saying, know your market. Yes. Know your market. If you don't know your market, study your market, know what's happening. You can't go back 6 months anymore at some neighbor, like you can't. It's a different, a year ago, forget about it. And a lot of sellers have that in their head. So our job as professionals is to come and be the economist of choice, right? Gary talks about that. Economist of choice. What's happening in your neighborhood? It's not even Austin, right? It's not Leander. It's not Round Rock. It's your specific neighborhood. Here are the facts. Because when you share the facts with people, you take the emotion out, because the emotion is what drives people in residential real estate. Right. Correct. They own their home. They raise the kids, like we talked before, or whatever happened. They've got these emotional attachments as a seller. But it's also usually their largest asset they will ever own, and they have more money in there. And I heard Gary Keller say, he said, you go into a casino, former runner-up to Miss Nevada right here, right? Grew up in slot machines and 7-Elevens, and from LA to like this little teeny town outside of Tahoe. It was Nevada, man, and we could go in and get gas at 7-Eleven and put a quarter in the slot. And he talked about, you go in a casino with $100, and then you win, and you get up to 500. And then you lose a little bit. So now you're at 300. Are you ahead or did you lose?
Sure ahead.
Yeah, right.
I'll say.
It's not
Yeah,
your
I'll
question.
say.
So you came in with $100 and now you have $300. Are you ahead? Everybody says
Absolutely.
yes, right? And yet that's sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, but yes, and you didn't sell in that market.
Yeah, that's
And we're
the thing.
talking
Yeah,
about
you
today.
weren't ready
Yeah.
to sell at that time. So you didn't lose anything because you weren't on the market.
And you're still like 60%
Yeah.
increase, right? And so I think there was a lot, and when you know that and you can say, let's break it down for you. The point is you have a lot of equity. And here's the other thing is if you don't, and you don't have to sell, maybe it's not the time for you to sell.
Yes.
Do you have those hard conversations with sellers
Yes.
when they're unrealistic?
Yes. Well, it's not necessarily that they're unrealistic. Unfortunately, someone has
Given them
false information.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to hear one number and then hear a different number from
Yeah.
Yeah.
us or really anybody else who brings that truth of the market. And it's hard to
What-
deliver that information.
You know, and it's hard for them to hear that because somebody else told them that, right? And
Right.
so you think about it though, for if you're a really strong listing agent and you understand this and you offer
Yes.
a lot, there is a cost to listing each property.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
photography, sometimes staging, all the things that go into a great listing, right? And so it's like, why would you ever take an overpriced listing? So your goal is to get that home sold for them.
Mhm.
Right. And
Mhm.
I remember there was this recruit that I had, and he was a big luxury agent, and it was in my declining market in Nevada. When I started as a new team leader, I'd recruited him and his wife. They were a great husband and wife team. You guys remind me of them a lot, and they were awesome people. And she was really into REO, so she'd taken a lot of the banco and stuff on,
Yeah.
and he was doing all the luxury, big listing agents. And he called me one day and he's like, Melanie, I just didn't take a listing for the first time. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk through this. I don't know if I told you not to take the listing. Let's make sure
Just
you're
pay
in
for
this.
the right price. right?
Exactly. And I said, tell me more. Staying curious. He said, yeah, they were totally overpriced. There had been 2 other listing agents that told them that they would get that price. And I told him the truth. And it was going to be, they wanted 800 and he's like, I'm sorry, the market right now is telling us you're not gonna get more than 5. So it's a big
Big
difference.
difference, yeah.
And I said, okay, so what did they say? He said, well, they thanked me and said, thank you for telling us the truth because these other 2 agents said that. And honestly, we're just not gonna sell because we can't take that price.
Yep.
Like we're just gonna wait it out. We don't have to move. We're just gonna hold it out. And thank you for being honest with us instead of us putting on the market for 6 months and not selling.
Mhm.
And then I said, how do you feel? And he's like a rock star. I said, because you are. And then I said, congratulations on not taking your first overpriced listing. It changed everything for him. And he became, he was already respected, but it took it to a whole new level. And like literally in the next week, they sent him 3 more leads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will always win when you speak the truth. And it's
Yes.
always about the client.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud of our industry. Like for great agents, we need that in our world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's who
Absolutely.
you guys are. You show up that way. And I think that's why also like on a conversion rate, I would imagine your conversion rate's pretty high.
Yes.
Do you know what it is?
It's about 95.
I was gonna get that. I would say the only ones you don't get are the ones that you probably decide not to take.
Or that it's
Or it's
just,
just not a
yeah,
fit.
or it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
not a good fit.
and that
Yeah.
happens too.
It's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally okay.
The
It's-
process is very unique, very,
Yeah.
very modern.
Okay.
And yeah, it's definitely not I'm just gonna stick a sign in your yard and
Right.
put a lockbox on the door. It's
Yeah.
different.
Works
And a lot of,
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't work for people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's motivation and are we in alignment, right? And
Yeah.
that's because the beautiful thing about life, in most cases, if you're in any kind of sales thing, you get to choose who you're in business with.
Yes.
You get to choose who you're in business with. And that's a beautiful thing, right? And
Yeah.
so when you're on a listing presentation or you're working with a buyer consultation, you're interviewing them just like they're interviewing me. Same with me in recruiting. I'm like, you guys don't realize like this is mutual. Like, yeah, you're checking out Keller Williams, but I'm checking you out too.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
who plays in my sandbox matters.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? All day
It
long, who's
really
on
does.
your team, what
Yeah.
clients do, all the things, it matters. And that, because like I was teaching my class that you couldn't come to last week, right? But it's about like hiring talent and having
Yes.
talent in your world. like a toxic person, whether it's a client that drags you down or it's a staff member, whatever, like get rid of them. Life is too short, right? And you've created such a wonderful space. I can't wait to see what's next for the team, you think?
I think just growing as our team that we have right now.
Yeah, really,
You know,
really
and
focusing on, yeah.
really bringing all of us to
Okay.
that next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
so great. That's so
Yeah.
great. Okay, so what did I not ask you? Because we're gonna wrap up the episode. I love this. You guys have done amazing. What did I not ask you, or a last parting thought you would like to leave with our listeners today?
Just don't live in fear.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be the silent agent.
Don't be the silent agent. Yeah, just like I said earlier on, beat that drum.
Yeah.
You just get yourself out there. Don't be afraid to let people know what you do, because you're in the business. As long as you do it in the mindset that because you want to help, right? We're at the end of the day, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have a problem, you want to sell something. I'm here to help you do that. And or your family's too big for the house that you live in, and you need something bigger. I'm here to help you solve that problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of what just gonna come from the heart when you do it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you'd add?
No, he hit it perfect. Great job.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Okay, so if people want to learn more about you, what's the best way to find you guys?
Oh, well, we the team name, the Cummings team.
Okay.
We have of course, our website, and guess what? It's cummingsteam.com, and our email is hello@cummingsteam.com. And yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Absolutely. To reach out.
reach out anytime, whether agent or not. We'd love to chat.
Yeah, love chat.
I love it. Okay, thank you for being my guest. Thank you for being my listeners, and I will see you on the next episode. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you, guys. Bye.